In this video, we will review how to create an assessment from scratch. To ensure the assessment you create is engaging and will get you the best possible prediction on performance, consider the following best practices. Include a minimum of 6 questions. The best is 8 to 10 and ideally no more than 12. Include a variety of questions, multiple choice, text, number, audio, or video if it's a main component of the role, or more immersive question types such as a document, spreadsheet, coding questions, customer service, or cybersecurity simulations for these specific technical roles. Include work-based tasks to give candidates insight into what is expected in the role, but also give you insight into how they would perform on actual tasks. For example, include video or audio recordings of customer situations or calls and ask candidates to complete a task based on what they hear instead of asking, "Tell me about a time you had to help an angry customer." You will get better insight into their ability and thought process by setting the scene and asking them to perform a task, instead of giving examples of their experience. Don't start with a video response, but instead start with a multiple choice or text response. Candidates tend to abort an assessment as soon as they encounter a video response from the start. Consider including an info question type at the beginning with a company video, information about the organization values and goals, or a video of the hiring manager introducing the role and assessment. This will make it more engaging for your candidates. Avoid adding timers to videos unless the task is mimicking a pressured situation they may encounter on the job. Ease into it, ask an easy question first, and then build up to the more difficult questions. And finally, include a correct answer sample in the correct answer field when relevant. Include as many as needed to help increase AI ranking accuracy. To get started, click the blue Create Assessment button and add your job title and skills. We recommend adding no more than 3 to 5 skills. Click Create Assessment, and you'll be redirected to the Create stage. You will notice that a placeholder for each skill is added on the left-hand side. You can click through each to add a question for each skill. By default, we include 3 placeholders for each skill. You can remove placeholders as needed, but keep in mind that there should be a minimum of 2 questions per skill to better measure a candidate's skill level. You'll start off by choosing a question type and then add the question or task you'd like to assign. You can also adjust the question settings by scrolling to the bottom of the question. To learn about each question type available, please watch our question type video tutorial. If you're unsure on what question or task to include for a skill, click the Suggested tab to browse questions from our library that pertain to the skill being assessed within that question. Click Add, and then you can choose to edit or add the next question. You can add additional questions by clicking on Add Question, delete a question by clicking on the trash icon next to the question, and you can reorder questions like this. There are also multiple question settings options available when creating an assessment. You have the option to set an answer time limit, which will mean that the candidate will only have that set amount of time to answer the question before it times out, and they will no longer be able to add or edit their response. You are also able to click the toggle to require candidates to answer the question. This will mean that candidates will not be able to submit their assessment unless they have answered this question. Please note that if you are using timers, having required questions may prevent candidates from submitting a required answer if they run out of time. For this reason, we recommend you use timers in moderation and only if you are trying to create a similar pressured timed situation that a candidate would encounter in the role. For text questions only, you are also able to click the toggle to include that question in the plagiarism checker. This means that the responses from this question will be compared to all candidate responses to check if any candidates have the same answer, and flagged if yes, so you can investigate. For more information on this, please watch our plagiarism and geolocation feature video. Finally, you can also choose to remove a question from grading. This means that the responses from these questions will not be scored by the AI or be included in the overall grade. Examples of questions that may not need to be graded include instructional sections or introductory videos. To set the parameters for your entire assessment, such as a specific deadline or randomizing order of questions, click the Settings tab in the top right corner. From there, you'll be able to update your assessment settings, which include your assessment description and skill group settings. Skill group settings are important to double-check, as this is where you'll organize your assessment questions based on the skill it relates to. Once questions are properly distributed, the scores assigned to each skill will reflect how candidates have performed. To access this section, click on Skill Group Settings. You will notice that your questions are already grouped by skill. However, you can update the group name or move questions from one group to another if necessary. You may also decide you want to add another skill group and either move questions into that group or create additional questions. To add a new group, click on Add New Skill. You also have the option to randomize the questions that appear to candidates. This feature works great if you have a pool of questions ready. Slide the toggle button to the right to enable this feature and choose the number of questions you want included and randomized. If you want to randomize the order of multiple choice answers, or the question order for each candidate, you can choose these options here. Just keep in mind that once you set any randomization, you will not be able to use some of our select and compare features. We will share more details in the select stage tutorial. You're all set. You're now ready to create your first assessment from scratch and invite candidates. Once candidates begin to submit their assessments, you'll need to review their rank within the select stage of the assessment. To learn more about how the select stage works, make sure to watch the tutorial for complete details. Additionally, please feel free to reach out to support@vervo.com with any further questions you may have.